still think it's a good idea to go home? They all hate you, Jala. Can you blame them?
You're way too stubborn to just give up.
Dad, stop being so sensible. Timber Hills, our hometown. Full of gossiping aunties, parental expectations, and your past mistakes. Hope you're ready for some long-delayed emotional catharsis. Because your exes are looking for revenge. Or maybe a date?
Are we flirting or are we fighting?
Why not both?
Her thighs, they're so powerful. So, I have to make up with my first love, find out what's going on with the creepy skate cult run by a bear mascot, win my mother's approval, and track down my sister who's avoiding me, all before the most dangerous battle of all.
My mother is coming to Timber Hills.
The women in your family, they're all terrifying.
I'm doomed.
My advice to you, Jala, die young.
Acceptable effort.
Today we're looking at the new game, Thirsty Suitors, which just sounded like an amazing premise. You have some cooking, skateboarding, RPG elements, as well as that East Indian cultural flair, in addition to just a really beautiful art style. And you go into this world. This is really sets up the tutorial. It also helps to kind of tailor how your experience starts and what sort of character you by the questions that it asks in relations to, you know, what your preferences would be. And the narrator is your imaginary image of your older sister whom you haven't talked to in 6 months. Now, this is cut short, but the intro level introduces all the main players, your parents, your sister, as well as your ex, Taylor, and sets up what sort of love him and leave him sort of person our main character is. And this happens all through the quizzes that happen throughout this introductory level. I really enjoyed the mechanics of skateboarding. Once I got the hang of it, as you see, I died my first time just kind of figure out what's happening and to get my sense of this imaginary world that's going on here. So I like the loop-de-loops. I like the platforming in general. I thought was really, really cool and really fun. It'd be interesting to see if this sort of dynamic comes into play later on in the game, because so far through my playthrough, it's very much the story focus of this game, not in the platforming, but you'll see a little bit shortly exactly what I am talking about. And your narrator sister, your imaginary older sister, acts as more or less a guide. Now, see, you hear, well, I guess, here you see all of your exes and what they would say about you. I thought initially, especially watching the trailer, there may be sort of a Scott Pilgrim vibe here where you have to fight your evil exes, but they're not really evil, but you do have to fight them, at least so far. As you'll see a little bit later, you do fight one of your exes, and it's your ex from 3rd grade. So it's very Scott Pilgrim-ish in that regard, but you also have these sort of dilemmas as well that you will face. I like the moral choices. This is one of those games where you will no doubtedly want to play through again to see how your choices as far as what you would do in the introduction, as well as what you say to people, how that will influence and impact the gameplay going forward. Now, yeah, I didn't like this. I didn't know which way to go, but obviously it was an invisible wall there, so I had to go to the right. And once I did that, the narrator kicked in and basically is like, hey, you gotta call somebody. But even in this option tree, there is no right answer. Everybody you pretty much strike out with, so it just helps to show how isolated our main character is from everyone, and how essentially she's burned many of her bridges with her family and friends back in her hometown, which she regretfully has to come back to after, I'm assuming, a breakup based on what I've seen so far. I don't necessarily like the loading screens. I don't understand why they're loading screens in a game that doesn't have a disc, because it's a digital download. Even with a hard drive, it's like, hey, why is this loading? The diner and just the art style in general is just really cool. I thought that that's one of the things that really attracted me to this game was the art style and just how it looked unique and different from a lot of games out there, and one that will work on any platform, and this is literally on any and every platform you can play it on, but it dropped on Game Pass, which is how I'm playing it. And see here, you're trying to figure out who to call, how to call them, and everybody, like, I'm not going to, you know, have any luck calling my sister or my ex or my parents and give my father a heart attack. I love the dialogue here and just the interpersonalness of it. It's just really, really cool. It gives you a good sense of the character and how they interact with the rest of their world, not so much how the world interacts with them, because you don't see it from anybody's perspective so far. You only see it from Jayla's, and I like that she seems,
Remember when I said coming back here was a mistake? Is it a good time to say
I'll say before, love him and leave him type of girl, and maybe that's a bit harsh, but definitely trying to find her way, trying to figure out what she wants out of life and what she wants to be and who she wants to be with. This loading screen is going to be long. So I chuckled when this dude showed up, because I cannot believe that, first of all, he looks like a Sergio. And I was not expecting it to go into any sort of battle, especially this quickly in the game. But again, a lot of this opening level is tutorial as to how to play the game. So I really went in blind to this outside of seeing the trailer, so I didn't know what the gameplay was like. I didn't know how the different elements, and I still don't know how the cooking is going to factor into this later on, because that was one of the things in the description as well as in the trailer, that I didn't know how they would play into this. But it's heavy talking, so if you one of those people who don't like a lot of dialogue in your games, this is one that you should skip, simply because of that. It's a very dialogue heavy game, but it's pretty cool. The voice work is really, really good so far in the game. And Sergio is just, he's funny, from his mannerisms to his voice acting, but more importantly, just his overall style. Like, how can you take this dude seriously? And then the fact that he is such a mama's boy. Like, who would want to be involved with somebody like that?
Would you believe I am too?
So that's kind of where Jayla's coming from. And then there's something about surprise. I didn't expect to go into a battle. I'm like, what? We're fighting? So it was very interesting. And I like the turn-based battles, very reminiscent of JRPGs. So pretty much you have the RPG elements there, as you saw earlier with the sort of person you are. There's a, I won't say a skill tree, but there's definitely a personality tree as to what you want to assign points to, and you'll see more of that later on. But just the fact that Sergio, how can you take this guy seriously? That's one of the things I like about this game. It doesn't take itself seriously, and the color aesthetic, the design overall just adds a lot of fun to it. And then the fact that you're battling your boyfriend from the third grade who is still madly in love with you, and he's literally attacking you with a heart bomb, is absolutely hilarious. Oh, so in this battle, again, like a lot of this is a tutorial, as I said before. Your Uncle Hindi jumps in to tell you, you know, what you need to do in this steps, and you'll see her skills progress. And as you go along in this battle of different things, from taunts to rage-inducing to rage attacks as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. Again, being a tutorial, it's very easy and very forgiving as well. I wouldn't say the game is very easy, but it's very easy to understand. And like I said, very forgiving. It gives you a lot of time, even if you screw up on some of the QTEs, which I've never been that much of a fan of QTEs, even with my love of Shenmue. But this one does it in a way where it's very forgiving if you're not like right on the buzzer, and it gives you a lot of area to at least be successful, if not excellent or great or whatever nomenclature you use for when you got it perfectly. So I enjoyed that as well. I hate it when QTEs are so precise that it happens so fast, because a lot of times, in my opinion, QTEs come out of nowhere. So you're not even paying attention, or you have no real awareness that a QTE is coming up. Oh, QTE is a quick time events. Like, even with that, like, it gave you enough time to know that it's coming and to set yourself together so you can hit the A at the right time. That I appreciate when developers institute QTEs in games, not when they kind of come out of the blue or they just happen so quickly, because I am not one that I've memorized the buttons like that. I literally, even though I can play without looking, something about QTEs that make me look down at the controller to see where my fingers are so I'm hitting the right button. And it's annoying in that regard. I like it. So this is the thirsty taunt. So basically, this just, you're thirst trapping this dude. And it will be interesting to see if there are different thirst taunts for different X's. That would be very interesting. But basically, their weakness, they get weak in the knees, literally. They lose a turn, so you get an extra turn on them. And they're extensively weaker than what they were before once you've effectively thirst them. Then you can do this thirst bomb on them after you have hit them with the thirst trap. Or is it thirst trap? Yeah, I'll just call it thirst trap. Yeah. So, and I do, again, and see, he's even so thirsty that he's missing out on his attacks as well, and he's sweating. So I like that touch to the game as well. I'm going to be very interested to see how these sort of attacks impact the characterization of the other X's, because I'm hoping that you get a lot more unique expressions of thirstiness with 5 or 6 different X's. I know it's not 7 X's like Scott Pilgrim, but I'm very looking forward to that, because as you'll see later on, her X's aren't just people like Sergio. There are very, very different motley crew of individuals that she has been involved with during the course of her life.
Every girl's dream to date a man who takes grooming tips from her father.
Right? I thought.
Yeah, he keeps rocking back, like dancing. Reference you made earlier was a Bollywood movie, and I thought that was really funny. Even his music sort of went along with that as well. So here's another thirst bomb. Boom, right in the kisser.
Can't deny we look good. Think about it. You, or at the very least,
I'll tell you this much: his dancing, rocking back and forth, just it got on my nerves. I'm like, can you do some other character motion or movement, please? Just something. It became annoying and because of its repetition or repetitive nature. And I do like the option of you're able to taunt them or flirt with him during the course of this. I'm interested to see if maybe going back and playing again, if there's any real sort of changes in the gameplay, the battle itself, if you say you insult him the whole time. Are you able to enrage him more? Are you able to maybe decrease attacks more in a different ways? I'm very curious to see how that works. Does that raise your HP more compared to if you don't taunt him and you flatter him? Now this was funny. I actually started laughing with this as he went into, I forget what this mode is called, but he's nigh invincible in this regard. So I just thought that was really funny. It still reminds me, and maybe I'm thinking more so of the movie version of Scott Pilgrim, but it reminds me of that, especially maybe because of the cultural similarities with Patel and how that worked out with regards to the sequence in the battle with Scott Pilgrim. Just the dance and the sort of pageantry that goes along with it. And I know that can be very much traced back to, Indian culture at Bollywood influence. And I thought it was kind of like this dude is throwing a astral projected cart at me. Like, this is absolutely insane. So with this, I have to find a way to break his shield. So this is where you get other skills that open up to you to take him down and ultimately take him down for good. Yeah, so this right here, I missed that.
What the hell?
So this will tell me that, hey, you need to try some different skills here to break through his shield. So it's just one of those things where I like tutorials that hold you by the hand, but don't just spoon feed you. Don't spoon feed you.
You have to shatter that invulnerability by summoning.
All right, come on. Get to the nitty
All
gritty.
it takes to destroy Sergio's ego is a single word from his mouth.
One of the things I do like, I like how everything's still moving in the background, even as the narrator's talking to you. And of course, Uncle Hinty comes with the skill, Cry by Me. All right, here we go. Go to that skill. I wish they could have inserted like combo breaker from Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct when she hits him with the flip flop. That's funny. So brought him back down to earth.
You started it.
I guess it's a good sign. You want me to meet?
I wonder if he has any more moves other than that. Cry by, whatever it's called. It just reminds me of doing a Hadouken with his arm movements. And again, I'm pretty sure the developers took inspiration from Street Fighter with Sergio's movements for that move. So yeah, I'm glad that I like this tutorial because it comes up at the right moments. I knew that I was getting low on health, but at the time nothing was open for me to heal myself. Then that opens up and I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. Those health items. So I'm assuming no sort of magic in this game, or at least their interpretation of magic, and considering the circumstances, it'll be all item based as far as your restoring HP and MP, I'm assuming. I just want him to stop dancing. Up. It's over.
Didn't you have a shrine of me in your locker and the janitor made you throw it out at the end of the semester?
It wasn't a shrine.
Oh, this is the rage. That's right.
Indeed.
So you've incited him, and then you're going to take him down for the final blow. Well, not quite final blow. I thought that move was pretty lackluster, considering you had all those pomp and circumstance for inciting him to rage, and the associated rage attack is just that. I would expect something a bit more grandiose, in my opinion, especially considering some of the other moves that were done during the course of this battle. That one was very lackluster, considering it's your rage attack or associated with your rage taunt. So yeah, I messed up on this QTE, but again, it's very unforgiving, or very forgiving, excuse me. But I thought it was pretty cool when his pants came down and whatnot. So that was just, again, this whole first level was just full of little laughs and chuckles as you played along. The dialogue and everything, it was just really cool.
I used to think everyone was wrong about you, Jala. They're right.
I feel like he's doing a cha-cha, the way he's moving.
So
We're
your
almost
parents
there.
screwed you up as a kid. Big whoop. You're an adult now. Wow. Don't distract.
Cha, 1, 2, cha-cha-cha. Cry with me. 1, 2, cha-cha-cha. Cry with me. That's pretty much what he's doing. And she's doing a simple attack, and she has finally defeated him. So now we're going to make up and be best buds. BFFs forever. I don't know, I was kind of wanting her to just throttle him.
I'm sorry
Just
I came
because,
on so
but
strong, Jala.
hey, it's your third grade boyfriend. I guess you can only really
I've had
make
this
up. You
fantasy
can't
of
just,
you in my head
break
for
his
so
heart
long.
again or
It's
anymore.
time I got- I'm ready to move on.
So she literally beat sense into him that, hey,
Glad we
that
figured
was
that
third
out.
grade. Get over it.
Because
And of course,
I
she still
kinda
needs that
knew
ride.
her.
So enter Sergio. in the friend zone. I actually didn't realize this would be the first chapter. I thought that was a really good first chapter for the game. In general, a really good tutorial level to give a player a sense of the game. And here we have the different Thurstons, Heartbreaker. So I ended up going back, and I like when I build out characters, I like to make them more balanced. So I ended up going back and changing and putting numbers on all of them. Now we go here, you know, you're about to get your ride home, drop you off at your parents. I'm interested to see what that reunion is like. And again, I can't help but not love this art style. One of the things that I wonder, especially as more and more games focus on sort of specialized art styles, and maybe it's more so development tools, how do you really progress to the next gen? So this is a meeting of all of the X's, and how many are there? 6 total.
Yeah, about that. I lied.
So they're all talking, and so just telling them that they're back in town. And this would trip me out.
Jala's back.
You'll hear in a second. Well, I think you'll hear.
And she's not with.
Who could have seen
So
that?
we know just from
What?
So
the trailer, not the trailer, but the opening dream intro
not
that
everyone would want to know.
Jayla has multiple X's of different backgrounds and sexes,
I
but
did.
and obviously
Confess, I mean-
Taylor is the one that she hurt the most.
Sorry, Tyler. I know you two have your whole big doomed romance.
So they're setting up, in my opinion, you know, maybe that reunion, but you see Taylor wants no parts of Jayla whatsoever. And the way Jayla spoke, I'm like, wait a minute, is Jayla transgender? I was like, oh. Now, I don't know if it's that, but the voice very much lends to that for me. When you thought, you see in the promotion material, you just figure, oh, okay, she's just, it's 2 women, yada, yada, yada. But Taylor may be a trans woman, which definitely adds a wrinkle that nobody saw to this. That's just the case. I will see how this plays out as we go forward through the game. But this has been a really fun game to play. Just this opening level, really interesting, and I'm looking forward to playing more and more Thirsty. I want to see what each X is like as we go through all of the chapters to really understand, one, how Jayla hurt them, but also how Jayla grows as well throughout this whole experience.